This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
28-25, the final score as a late charge for the Dallas Cowboys falls short in Week 3 against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore rushes for over 200 yards on the ground, 150 alone for Derrick Henry. Let's hear what the head coach Mike McCarthy has to say at the podium.
Oh, I think it's like anything. Just probably my last words, after the prayer before we went out is this, the bags of ice are packed and it's going to be 4 quarters. Let's take this thing into the final rounds. We felt, just the start was where we needed to get going. They started faster than we did. 6 point at halftime. I know as a offensive play caller, I was frustrated. There's a couple of calls I wish I definitely would have had back. But you got to love the fight and the effort. But our execution is we need to be better. And when I sit up here and talk about all the work we need to do, those are the things I'm referring to. We got a chance. We had a chance here, and they made more key plays than we did. Just based off our big play production, numbers at halftime, we keep track of it. It was +8 and +8, but the score didn't reflect that. And I think clearly the 2-point play or they got the big takeaway down there in the red area, and so we just had a battle back. You definitely want to get in front of that team. That's a team that plays to their strength and their profile, and aggressive on defense, and got excellent players, excellent coach. But we were not clean enough to get the win today.
Clarence Hill, All City, Dallas. That being said, how demoralizing and frustrating to not be able to continue to not be able to stop the run?
Well, it's our game of the season. Yeah, I think we, definitely the last 2 weeks, it's going to be a clear target on us, and we have to, we stop it. And it's going to, we got a quick one here, quick turnaround in New York. That's our run defense and the attempts in our run offense we're not clearly on where we need to be right now.
Tim Cowlishaw, Dallas Morning News. You won the toss and took the ball this week. How much were you counting on the offense scoring some points and kind of setting a tone early in the game? Yeah,
definitely. I was playing to get the lead as fast as we could. That was part of that decision.
And you said you were frustrated as a play caller, but you got CeeDee Lamb with a couple drops and a fumble and a penalty. How far away is he from being the kind of player you need him to be?
Well, I think just like anything, especially a game like today, I think the most important thing is to look straight in the mirror. We put a lot into this game. Not that we don't put into it every week. Our practice, sometimes your preparation is really good and you don't play as well as you like, and there's times where your preparation is not very good and you play better than you thought. And I think clearly this week our preparation was pretty much in line with the way we played. So this group works hard. I do. I truly love the locker room. They got a ton of fight, but we're going through some growing pains. So we need to continue to grow and get ready for this game in New York.
I like the way he put it right there at the end there. Growing pains for this football team. Isaiah, what did you think about what he had to say?
Yeah, he gave a lot of information there. If you go back and listen to it, obviously he just ended that interview there. He's talking about growing pains. He also alluded to the fact that it's just only the 3rd game, right? Like the defensive, the ability to stop the run on defense obviously is still figuring things out. But he also said that's a team that you want to get ahead of. And that's why I took the kick so that I can get ahead of this team, because he had no faith. Let's call it what it is. He didn't have faith in their ability for the defense to stop these guys from running the ball. And that's a reality that as fans, as analysts, as a head coach, he's owning it. He's owning it. We can't stop the run right now. And because of that, prior to the game starting, that was his belief. And then they showed it exactly why he feels that way, because they ran the ball 75% of the time.
Yeah, and what also is a reality when you look at it, 3 of the last 4 games, if you're counting that game back in Green Bay, this team has started slow. If we're keeping it 100 like we always do up here, your team has got to start fast. They've come out sleepwalking in 3 of the last 4 games. All right, 2 of those were at home with your home field advantage. And you're getting ran through the way you're getting ran through. That's just unacceptable. And from a coach that's, a Super Bowl winning head coach, one of the best coaches in the National Football League, you got to find a way to motivate your team and get them ready to play each and every week, not just sometimes here and sometimes there. You got to get ready each and every week to perform in the National Football League. Each year is different.
Just to add to your point there, all three of those slow starts were at home.
Exactly.
All three of them are at home, Nate. I mean, that's not what this team has done under Mike McCarthy, but apparently it is a problem moving forward.
Yes, your offensive line is a little shaky right now, trying to gel, so you can't get anything going on your offense. But back to the original question proposed is, how do they start so slow? Well, understand this right here. The better the quarterback we face and the quicker start that they can get, we always get behind. And when we get 14 points behind, you heard me saying this, and Lord, don't let them score again. When we get 14 points behind, it takes away our strength. We talked about that before the show here, that you take away their strength of being able to rush the passer. Now you have to stop the run. We'll be giving up over 200 yards in the last 3 games. And the better that the quarterback we're facing, the worse it get because he can throw. This guy couldn't throw as well as the other guys.
You got a lot of more opportunities throughout the year, right? There's a long way to go to get this thing right. And growing pains is accurate. There's still a way for you to end up winning the division. I mean, Philadelphia snuck out a win against New Orleans. We're so early on, but it is frustrating to see back-to-back games, and not even slow starts, but embarrassing starts. To begin at home in front of your home crowd, where you had traditionally won your last 16 games and been pretty good at AT&T Stadium. When we come back, we're going to hear from Micah Parsons inside the locker room. He showed some frustration on the sideline as well. Let's see what he had to say following the 28-25 loss.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Early in the game, you could see the frustration building for the Dallas defense as they tried to find a way to slow down both Lamar Jackson and then, of course, Derrick Henry, who finished with 151 yards on the ground with 25 carries and 2 touchdowns. Let's hear from one of the guys who was aimed at spying Lamar Jackson early, but ultimately was negated in his production. Micah Parsons in the locker room.
I mean, the same thing. I think right now we got people just trying to be Superman. People just got on their jobs, bro. We don't need everyone to be Superman. We don't need no Supermans at all. We just need 11 guys playing together. And right now, they're just not in unison. I mean, when you're preaching something all week, everyone's in the locker room saying, we're going to do what we got to do, and everyone's going to be accountable. And when you come out, it's just like, how are we getting gas? We're not being accountable, not set. It's just game don't come down to that third down. We do what we're supposed to do. We win the game. It's just like, at what cost are we just going to keep doing this to ourselves? They did exactly what I expected. Motion to 42, they're going to run to 42, Ricard. I mean, it's plain as day. I mean, we know when it's true pass it. Them guys is in damn near 4-point stance coming up the ball. So it's just like, at one point, are we just going to knuckle up and just play? I mean, for me, I mean, it sucks. I mean, it's a long year. I mean, I would say I never experienced something like this. I mean, my confidence is within, the organization because we got to get it right. You know what I'm saying? This is a winning organization. I want to uphold that standard. But at the same time, everyone has to uphold the standard. And, I think I'm confident, my faith. My faith. I just think we're being tested right now, man.
How do you not get people to place?
Bro, I have no idea. Like, I'm gonna be real, like I said, I really believe we're being tested. I'm being tested. Like, it has to come together. It's humbling. At your all-time high, God always finds a way to put you back down. And right now, we're low as shit. And everyone has to stay strong within their faith and say, at one point, are we going to trust in God, trust in ourselves, trust in the team, trust in the framework of the defense? Because any cost, like some of the stuff is, at one point, like I said, it's just us being us. So when it's the faith and trust going to be it. Yes, I definitely think it's frustration, right? We talk, like I said, D-Laws has always been like a big brother to me.
So here's a look at the defensive stats, and there's a lot of zeros up there, as you can see. 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit. I'm even surprised that there's a 1 in that category because there was really 0 pressure on Lamar Jackson. He looked comfortable behind the line of scrimmage. He looked able to move. He looked able to throw. The only time that the defense really had any success was whenever Baltimore took their foot off the gas in the second half. And they went down, dominated the 8s. You hear about that all the time, going into the half, coming out of the half. They were able to do so at ease. And Barry, I'll start with you, our resident defender here on the panel. But Micah Parsons there, it sounds like he's pointing fingers at some of the other guys on the defensive front. Is that the case, and is it fair to do so?
I don't believe he's pointing any fingers right there. To me, what was going on right there is a lot of frustration. They're getting ran the ball up and down the field, and something that really stuck out to me is when he talked about, playing hero ball. And to me, what that means is you're not trusting your other guys on the defensive side of the football to do their job. So you feel like you have to go out there yourself and make each and every play. And that's how defenses get exposed. When you don't go out there and handle your responsibilities and you trust that the guys on the inside are going to do theirs, then you end up getting exposed as the defense. And we saw that time and time again. Guys were coming down on the dive for Derrick Henry, leaving the edge wide open for Lamar Jackson. You got to trust those guys on the inside because it's a team sport. It takes all 11 guys to go out there and get the job done. Not just one superstar or 2 superstars here. You got to trust your teammates. And that's exactly what I think he was pointing to when he was saying playing hero ball. We all got to play as one, and right now they're not playing as a unit.
If you watch that game closely, and Isaiah brought it up real quick, they couldn't even decide where the strength was. They didn't know whether it was Likely or whether it was Andrews. And so as the game went on, you saw them, they started lining up in their base defense just sitting there because they were sitting ducks. They didn't know what to do and who had to do what. And then all of a sudden, you see 0 tackles for losses. You run the ball 40 times and have 0 tackles for losses. No, that's not possible in today's football.
Yeah, you just hit it, Nate. That's powerful right there. Micah Parsons is not pointing fingers. What Micah Parsons is doing is owning his mess. He's also calling out everybody else on the squad, on the defense side of the ball, to DYJ. Okay, that's what we used to say when our Super Bowl run that we had. DYJ, do your job. That was all that's being asked of you. And what you're seeing right now not only is frustration because when you're going out there giving it your all and it's not enough. right? I'm giving my all. I'm putting my body on the line. I'm doing everything I can to affect the outcome of this game. And you may not be, because you're not trusting the scheme. Now, all of a sudden, I have a problem with you, because it doesn't matter that I'm doing my best. When you're not doing what you're supposed to do, we can't be successful. And what you're seeing here, the underlying factor, and you might start seeing this kind of bubble up, back-to-back weeks, this defense looked like they didn't know what they were doing. Back-to-back weeks, this new defense looks like they don't trust the scheme that is being handed out to them. This is their third game with a new defensive coordinator, a new scheme, a new approach to the way in which he wants to approach offenses, and it seemingly isn't working. So as a player, what do you naturally start doing? You know what? What I'm supposed to do, that ain't going to work. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to go take it upon myself and go make plays. What do you call that? Hero ball. Who just said hero ball? Micah Parsons.
It is certainly the case, and he said, we're being tested, I'm being tested. There's a lot of testing going on in order to try and figure out who the identity and who the leaders are on this football team, and we'll continue to see what that looks like moving forward. When we come back, Jerry Jones spoke to the media following the 28-25 loss. What did the owner have to say?
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.
Lots of frustration around Cowboys Nation right now as the team falls to 1-2 on the 2024 season following a 28-25 loss to Baltimore. Welcome back into Cowboys OT. Let's go back to AT&T Stadium and hear from the ownership and Jerry Jones.
Jerry, what's your level
No questions.
Your level of frustration with the way things happened in the first half today?
Well, it just seemed like we couldn't get out of our own way. But it's just a reminder of what this game is about. They can take some of what they showed out at the end of that game, and we can go forward with that. That's at least some taste to end up in your mouth. We're sad, obviously, for our fans that we've lost 2 in a row here at home. But if things work like you'd like to have them, they can take some of what we had at the end there and bottle it up and go forward with it.
How concerned are you about the run defense?
Well, again, overall, Baltimore really did a successful job, let's put it like that, on both sides of the ball. And it wasn't until we were able to get a little more going at the end ourselves. But we've got a lot of work to do. But we've got time to do that kind of work. And we got a short week this week, but we've got to start. That was disappointing to end up at the end, getting back there and maybe having a shot at it. But when you look at the whole picture, we got outplayed today.
Jerry, that's 3 losses in a row now at home. How concerned are you about that the home field advantage doesn't seem to be what it was?
Well, I'm not going to close the stadium if you're asking me that at all. So, but seriously, those hurt. Those really hurt. I hate it. I'm so proud of every fan and every seat. Everybody's not in the seat watching on television. I hate it at home, but I hate it anytime the only real solution is to take the plus parts we got out there today. We were ragged in a lot of areas, and that can be improved on.
So there's Jerry Jones. You can hear all of his answers and his media availability on DallasCowboys.com. Back here with Barry Church and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Barry, I'll start with you. Jerry, of course, frustrated, but still sounds like he has some hope with this football team. Not a bad place to sit, but there is just frustration through 3 weeks.
Yeah, to me, he just seemed like a man that, was extremely frustrated about the outcome that happened in this game and the continuing struggles of the defense when you talk about the run game. But not only the defense when you talk about the trenches, but he looked like he was also frustrated on the offensive side of the football and protecting Dak Prescott. I mean, they did give up 3 sacks, but the game, it seemed to get out of hand early on, the way they were able to get after Dak Prescott and get these guys off script. We all understand that when this offense is firing on all cylinders, they're balanced. You get a little bit of rushing. You get a little bit of Dak Prescott. But 51 yards rushing in the game, I know it got out of hand a little bit early, but that's not going to cut it. All right, you got to get more out of the ground game, and you need the trenches of the Dallas Cowboys, both defensively and offensively, to play a lot better.
I agree 100%, Barry. And the thing that he also said was they got a little bit of the bad taste out of their mouth as the game went on. So you got to take something out of that fourth quarter. I mean, I don't believe in moral victories. You either win or you lose. But you saw some good things that you can work on. I saw our offensive line compete a little bit better. So that is a positive, and that's what he's talking about, getting the bad taste out of your mouth. You can take it to the next game.
Well, and let's talk about Dak Prescott in that form when we come back, because he did play better as the game went along into that second half, and especially in the fourth quarter, started finding some weapons outside of CeeDee Lamb. When we come back with more Cowboys OT. Back here on Cowboys OT, over 300 yards of passing for Dak Prescott and company. Here's what he had to say at the podium following the loss to Baltimore.
Clarence Hill, All City, Dallas. Let's talk about the slow starts. I know you guys finished fast, but how frustrating is it to continue to start slow?
Yeah, very frustrating, especially when you're playing a quarterback like that on that side, an offense that powerful, explosive. You just can't do it. Honestly, just talking to some of the defensive guys, we got to look in the mirror, us offense first, and we got to help them. I mean, I know their standard, and they don't want to allow 28 points, but 28 points against an MVP player, an offense like that, it's a game that we've got to go score 30 in. We know it. We didn't do it. Started late. That's the biggest part of it. The penalties, some errors, I guess you can say, just whether it be alignment, whether it be assignment, we've got to be cleaner. We've got to lock in and be more focused on our job and take accountability every position and grow.
Why do you seem to be more in sync when you're 2 minute?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe it's plays that we've ran, from the first install. That's what you always say. 2 minutes install one plays that you've the first day all the way to the last. You've had the most reps at them. That could be potentially it. So maybe we've got to lessen the volume. Who knows? But us as players, we've got to be more professional and understand our jobs, understand where we're supposed to be, and do that time and time again and keep our focus.
Dak, Todd Archer with ESPN, you said be more professional. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, by knowing where you're supposed to be, knowing your reads, knowing where you're supposed to line up, knowing your routes, knowing your route adjustments versus certain coverages. Every part of what being a professional is, it's doing your job and being prepared for every part of the job, however it may come. So time away from the building to being in the building, just being a pro and understanding that you can only get so many practice reps, but you can watch the film, you can do all these other things that will help make up for it, and we just got to be more focused, and that's what, to me, on offense, we haven't been as focused as we should, and had a lot of or a few mental errors that were crucial, I guess you can say, just the timing-wise, and to me, it just goes into being professional and understanding what you got to do.
Sadius of The Athletic. Dak, with body language and CD's body language, how do you balance the passion that he shows versus making sure like he doesn't get too down either on himself or on the offense as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, reading body language, I'm not really into it. I'm just into making sure he doesn't get down on himself. The body language, whether it's good, it's bad, it's irrelevant. It's where his mind is. And so he's going to be disappointed when you're passionate, when you expect a lot from yourself. You're going to be that way. So for me, it's about just letting him know, hey, next play, wipe it clean. Who cares what happened when you have an opportunity to go fix it this next play or make a better play? So if you're sitting in that, dwelling on that, your mind's not in the right place to move forward. So for me, it's about just always talking to not only him but the other guys of, don't dwell. You don't have time to dwell. You look at the way that game ended, and I feel like if we don't dwell in different places on offense, it's a different game, obviously, and who knows, one 2-point conversion away from a tie game and a red zone trip away from a different ending to that game. So that's my point, is you can't dwell. Things happen fast in this league, and you always have an opportunity. You always have a chance as long as there's times and as long as you have the ball.
So there's a lot to unpack there from Dak Prescott, QB1, giving some insight on how things really unfolded on the sideline, how he views it moving forward. I want to see how Barry Church and Nate Newton view it. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit deeper into what Dak Prescott just told us and how things unfolded for the Cowboys offensively in their loss to Baltimore. Welcome back to Cowboys OT with Barry Church and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Now, let's dive in a little bit to what Dak Prescott just told us. And it starts with that final question, and he was alluding to CeeDee Lamb and some of the body language and some of the frustration shown by CD. We mentioned this on the First Word presented by Dr. Pepper, so go back and look at that if you haven't already on the Cowboys YouTube channel. It's a really great breakdown from you guys on it. But thoughts on how Dak outlined it there? It sounded like he didn't want to throw his player under the bus. But there is some frustration across the board when it comes to the body language.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. You know, he didn't want to throw his guy CeeDee Lamb under the bus right there, but the frustration you saw from CeeDee Lamb on the field, in my opinion, it's just unacceptable. But like Dak Prescott has always been since a rookie, since I played with him, he's a consummate professional, and he's one of the best leaders on this football team. And when you look at it offensively, did they start out slow? Of course they did. You know, you'd love to see them get a little bit more out of the offense, especially receiving that first kickoff. But to me, when you look at it, you got to love the fight. And you got to love what you saw from Dak Prescott in this offense overall towards the end of the game, because we understand defenses, they're going to put all they can to stop CeeDee Lamb. They're going to try to frustrate him by putting hands on him, making sure his releases aren't clean, putting double coverages over him. And any great receiver is going to be frustrated by that because they want the ball. They want to be able to impact the game the way they know they can. But when defenses are taking you away like that, you got to be able to find other options out there. And that's what I loved when I saw from Dak Prescott, especially in the fourth quarter. He was able to hit guys like Tolbert. He was able to hit guys like Cavante Turpin out there and get the ball down the field. You saw other weapons on this offense step up. Was CeeDee Lamb frustrated? Of course he was, because he wants to be that guy. He wants to be known as the guy to get the ball and be able to take this offense to the next level, which we all know he can do. He's capable of doing just that. But there will be games, there will be defenses that try to take you completely off of the board, and you cannot show those frustrations out on the field, especially going against your quarterback like that. Now, I wasn't on the sidelines. I don't know what was said. I don't know if the body language could have been at the defensive pass interference call, for all I know. But that body language out there, to me, was unacceptable if it was going towards Dak Prescott. But I believe Prescott handled it extremely well out there, and I loved what I saw from our quarterback as far as the resolve and finding other targets out there as well.
Going into the fourth quarter, you had an opportunity. You were down by 6 at one point, 8 at one point. You was chopping away. CD, we need you. Never, ever, man, give up. Your body language may not mean nothing to Dak, but it means something to these fans. And we as ex-players know what that body language means. Do not stop playing, my friend. Keep playing at all costs, because you are a difference maker, and we needed you in the fourth quarter.
And he has been frustrated at times. He's had some drops. He's had some miscues, and there's things that his parts of his game that can take a step up from what it's been in 2024. Maybe training camp was missing. All of that was a hindrance to what he could do. But at the end of the day, you got to be there for your ball club, especially whenever you're getting paid as the second highest non-quarterback in NFL history. You got to be ready for any situation, including what happened today against the Baltimore Ravens. When we come back, let's hear about the running back room. Rico Dowdle at times had some success in the passing game, but Cowboys again struggled to get the ground game going. We'll be back in a moment here on Cowboys OT.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Entering week 3 of the NFL season, Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott each had 56 yards rushing. Today, how do they improve upon that number? Well, as a team, they finished with 51 yards on the ground. Let's hear from Rico Dowdle, who did have some success as a wide receiver and in the screen game at times, but still couldn't necessarily get the ground game going.
Just knowing that we were shooting ourselves, everything that happened before we got down 28-6, we were just shooting ourselves in the foot. And we understood that. We had the red zone, we got to the red zone, we turned it over, and then a couple third downs, fourth downs go our way, and it would have been a different thing. But like I said, same conversation, just knowing we had a chance still, and we just had to put the ball in the end zone and get a couple stops.
You talked earlier this week about the struggles for the run game, and still where is the hope?
It was limited. I say limited yardage, limited carries as well. Like I said before, you can't really judge a run game based off. I think we probably had 12 carries as a running back group today. So, like I said, it comes with opportunity and repetition, and that's that.
Do you feel like you can fix this run game if you got the full amount of carries?
Yeah, I think I can, but I think we all can. But for sure though.
So there's Rico Dowdle. Of course, we talked about it. The running game has not been good for the Cowboys this year. 8 carries, 32 yards for Rico Dowdle. Ezekiel Elliott, 3 carries for 6 yards and a long of 4. That's what he had in terms of this matchup. And then, of course, you look on the opposite side, you allow 151 yards on the ground to Derrick Henry, 87 to Lamar Jackson. Where does the struggle stem? Is it the running backs, offensive line, or maybe a mixture of both?
Yeah, I believe it's the latter. It's a little mixture of both. I believe the offensive line has to play a little bit better, and I believe this running back by committee approach may be on its way out. I think you got to get these guys in a rhythm. Right now, it looks like to me Rico Dowdle has the most juice when you talk about coming out of the backfield, whether it's catching the football or hitting the hole with a lot of speed and burst and making guys miss. I believe it should be his backfield going forward as far as getting the most carries and letting him get in a rhythm. Nobody likes to be in and out of the game. You got to get that rhythm going, and I believe Rico Dowdle has deserved that chance to take his game to the next level. This running back by committee room, it sounds great, but overall it hasn't been as productive as we'd like it.
It's the offensive line. We've seen what Rico Dowdle in the past could do with a decent, more unified offensive line. So right now, I think it's the offensive line. But I do agree with you, Barry. He deserves a little more because he got a little more punch to it still. And I like how he came out of the backfield tonight. So going forward, I think it should be Rico Dowdle.
Outrushed by 223 yards compared to the Baltimore Ravens and, of course, the Dallas Cowboys. Not a great look. But the Cowboys fall 28-25 to Baltimore. When we come back on Cowboys OT, we will wrap this one up and then take a look at a short week ahead of time as the Cowboys face the Giants on Thursday Night Football.
Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
28-25, the final score in Week 3 of the NFL season at AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys have now fallen to 1-2 and will take on the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football as we wrap up Cowboys OT. Here from the Star in Frisco in the Globe Life Studios, Barry Church alongside Nate Newton. Isaiah Stanback was here at one point in time. He's on his way to Good Morning Football as we speak. You look good. You look great. 20 years younger by all means. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Now, guys, the last time the Cowboys were outrushed by this many yards was against the Baltimore Ravens, Week 13 of the 2020 NFL season. So it's been nearly 4 years since they've been dominated in the trenches like this, yet they only lose by 3. Things to build on for this team going into Thursday Night Football, but not a whole lot of time to improve upon that.
Yeah, the one thing I want this team to continue to build on is a slight positive here, but when you look at, I talked about it a little bit earlier, the weapons outside of CeeDee Lamb continuing to grow. You know, you're going to get those one-on-one options, whether you're Cooks, whether you're Tolbert, whether you're Turpin out there in the slot, you're going to continue to get those one-on-one options, so you got to continue to grow the offense that way. I understand CeeDee Lamb's an amazing athlete out there, an amazing wide receiver, but it can't be CeeDee Lamb or bust. All right, you got to have other options out there. And defensive side of the football, you got to continue to go out there and grind and get better at stopping the run. I mean, like we've always talked about this whole post-game show and in the pregame show, you got to win your one-on-one battles. You got to be able to throw those guys to the sky, get off blocks, and make plays out there as a whole defensively if you want to continue to get better as a team.
Defensively, you have to start trusting one another. You know, as young Parsons said, you can't play hero ball, and even that applies to him. He put himself in the mix.
Yes.
You know, we have to believe Zim knows what he needs to do. He's been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator. He's been with great defenses. He knows what to do. Just trust in the scheme, do your job, and everything should line up okay. Offensively, just continue to battle. Those young guys you talked about, so proud of you tonight. And CD, once again, baby, we need you. You're a difference maker.
Out of all 3 units, and I'll throw in coaching staff too.
Okay.
So 4 units of the football game, very quickly, Barry, who has to take the biggest leap forward?
Defensively. I mean, that was supposed to be the strength of this team going into the season. Defensively, we thought that was going to be the powerhouse, and right now they do not seem to be that powerhouse that we assumed early on.
I agree 100%. Defense have to pick it up. I think Dak will get this offense going. He didn't throw an interception, and he threw it 51 times.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to me.
Yeah, and he had over 300 yards, a lot of that in mop-up duty, trying to get back into the football game. The Cowboys make a late charge, but ultimately fall flat. Be sure to check out Cowboys Game Night. We'll have Barry Church breaking down the film of how this one unfolded as we have further post-game reaction following the 28-25 loss to Baltimore. For Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you on Thursday.